All right. Hello, Brendan. How are you?
Hello, good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Hanging in there with daylight savings. Are you getting
Yes.
adjusted?
No, absolutely not. No. Yeah, it's just like everything else. It's all about adapting. So, it was my fault. Stayed up a little late, but that's okay. Just got done chugging my coffee and I'm ready to go. So,
Good, good. Yeah, I'm definitely going to need some caffeine later. I'm sure I'll have the crash. It doesn't matter. Like I always set the intention. Okay, got to go to sleep early, and it just doesn't happen. I
I
even
know.
went to sleep later than usual. So it was just like total self-sabotage because I knew we were having this interview.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm excited to be here. I want to thank you for having me on here, and I'm super excited. Whether somebody's watching on replay or you're here now, I'm super excited to share anything I can to help people on their journey on YouTube.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to my audience and let them know a little bit about you.
Awesome.
So Brendan has a YouTube growth strategy channel that has helped several creators acquire better results by learning how to start and grow on the YouTube platform, all while being active duty in the military.
Mm,
His first YouTube channel was called Sparks Family TV, and he quickly grew his channel to 1.4 thousand subscribers before following his true passion to help others. And Brendan continues to strive to share his journey of trial and error from over 2 years experience. He holds weekly channel review live streams every Wednesday and is a trusted TubeBuddy and StreamYard affiliate. So I think it is just so amazing that you have this experience with the military, and then building a completely separate channel that you started just for fun, it sounds like, and just as a sort of passion project. And we're going to get into like all the details of building up a channel, but I want to first off start by saying that that 2 years of experience, that is like invaluable. I know that some people are out there and they want to watch people who've, been on YouTube for 10
yeah.
years or whatever. And it's like, once you start getting into YouTube, even just for like a month or two, you are learning so much. So the amount of skill and experience that Brendan is bringing to his channel is really valuable. And I think he's bringing, a really fresh voice to the table. So
Wow. Well, thank you for that. Yes.
absolutely, because I want people to understand that YouTube is not saturated. Like there is room
Mm,
for everybody's voice, and it is just a matter of applying some of the tips and techniques that Brendan and I are going to talk about today.
yeah.
So
Thank you.
yeah, and let's first off talk about your first channel. Like, what made you want to start that channel, and how did you get started?
So let me start off by saying, like, probably before you hit the live button, I was a little tired, and now like I'm ready to go. So like this is when you're on YouTube and you're getting started, first I would just say choose something you're passionate about. I'm not gonna like dive in the steps right now, but I just want to say like this is my passion. I absolutely love doing this. I have no history in videography. I have no history of understanding cameras, lighting, going live, public speaking. Sure, I'm in the military and stuff like that, and there's certain I don't say attributes, but there's certain things that I have to do in order to do my job. But when I got started on YouTube, and I'm an open book too, and not everybody has to be that way. It's just my approach, and I think it helps deal with day to day things, and also being able to share that with the community, and people can come together. I always say we're all going through something. And so, on that note, when I first started YouTube, my kids were watching Ryan Toy Review, and I was just thinking to myself, we could do that. And what was happening is my wife was actually, she went through stage 4 cancer. And it was during that time where I was looking at my kids and I'm like, we need to get out of this house. We need to do something. And my wife agreed. So I was like, let's go to the park. I just hit record and put on some background music. I had no idea what I was doing. Next thing I know, I'm doing another video. And I think one of my first videos after that was stop motion animation Christmas Cheerios. So I put together a bunch of Cheerios and made stop motion animation. And that's like how the channel started. I thought I was going to do the stop motion animation stuff, but it turned into me having more fun with my kids, recording that and finding that gave us something to look forward to, going on family adventures. It was just me and my children, so my wife could rest. And so I could definitely say that YouTube got us through probably one of the hardest times of our lives. So, I mean, sure, we put in the work, but like I did it strictly to build memories with my kids. And then I found this interest of this want of, all right, wow, I'm going to share this out. And oh, wow, I'm getting more views. And to be honest, I did whatever most people do is I did sub for sub. I did watch for watch. I did those things. I didn't know any better. You don't know what you don't know. So coming from a guy who is active duty in the military, always working, but really all my quality time was just with my kids to help them get through this as well. I found that it was actually really helping myself. And I spent countless days looking for other channels to subscribe to so that way they could subscribe to me and watching all their videos and they would watch mine. And what that did is it screwed up my analytics. It screwed up so many things. I didn't know if my videos were good or not. I had no idea. And so that would be like the first thing. If I had to give any tip, like one of the first ones would be don't get hung up on the numbers. Focus on the quality, because you're going like that's a bad investment. It's like driving a car off of a lot or buying a brand new car every single year. It's not a good investment. So rather than do that, save your time and invest it in the quality of your videos and try to figure out what kind of content you want to make. Because I'll assume that there's some people that may watch this that are like, look, I didn't even hit record yet. I don't even know what I want to do. Well, then experiment with that. You don't have to niche down day one, find your audience. No, just have fun on YouTube, experiment. And if you have an idea of what you want to do, start hitting record, even if it's with a cell phone. Get started today by recording. And but what happened on our channel was I stopped the sub for sub. I stopped the watch for watch. And what I started doing is I started watching Sean Cannell and Benji Travis from Think Media. I'm open about these things. Brian G. Johnson, Nick Neiman, D. Neiman. I mean, you name it. Tim Schmoyer. So I started just to divulge myself into all this. And I found myself for a long time getting consumed by all this information and not actually implementing it. But when I started implementing these things and finding the common themes between all these creators in my own experience, that's when I started seeing, okay, I'm at a few hundred subscribers, and that took me to over 1,000, like extremely fast. So that's what I would say is don't be consumed entirely by information, implement and improve.
Mm-hmm.
I'll start with that.
That's amazing. Yeah, there's so many nuggets that you had in there, Brendan. So I want to no, it's great. Kicking us off strong on the daylight savings. Well, I want to first bookmark what you said about getting started with your channel, that you really had a purpose for doing it, that it wasn't just about, oh, I want people to look at me and my family and, everyone, I think, even if they don't express it, if they're not doing YouTube, they might think, oh, if I'm putting videos out on my channel all the time, or I'm always doing videos, especially vlogging, that it's like about me and my ego. But in reality, I think that most people that succeed on YouTube are really connected to their purpose. That's what I've seen. And certainly there are people, that are really interested in having eyeballs on them. And, it is more about their ego. But I would say that most people, especially, people that are just getting started and that are able to build like you did, you have to be connected to your purpose. And so that's why I wanted you to start off with the story, because I think that, probably so many people on your channel, connected with that story. I've had a family member who had cancer, and, I'm sure there's so many other people that, connected with your story and enjoy watching your videos. And then the other thing that you said is about having fun. And I consider that to be like one of my values for work and business, actually, but especially in just the actual production of making videos, because so many people think that it's hard, and how am I going to get over all these technical hurdles? And I love what you said, because the first thing is like, just get out there and experiment. Learn how to use all this technology that you've never had your hands on before. And then you can start to shift to figuring out how to get more views on your videos. But first, you have to have some understanding of like how to set up the lighting, or how to hold the camera, how to get good audio, because without that, nobody's going to watch the videos anyway, whether or not, you are able to get traffic to them. They're not going to come back to your channel or subscribe, most likely. So I think that is just so key in, getting your channel started. Now, what would you say, you were talking about getting into analytics and, getting your channel up and running. Once someone has seen a little bit of success, like, they kind of have an idea of what niche they're going for, what would be the next steps that they need to take to start to, really grow their channel?
Well, I think you mentioned a couple good things and great things, actually. One is that when you start, your content's gonna suck. That's just I don't know a better way to put it. Your videos are going to suck. So with just hitting record, just acknowledging that and just understanding, okay, they said my videos are going to suck. So at that point, I'm not saying set the bar low, but that's just what's going to happen. And the reason for that is because of the improvements you're going to make. So when I started too on my first channel, videos were horrible. I was like, hello, everybody. Like, welcome to the channel. And, my lights are flickering in the background. I had no idea about lighting. So I do think that there needs to be a level of understanding when it comes to lighting and things like that, but that will come naturally. You're going to start to see things in your videos and recognize them by recording and actually publishing. And you're going to see, once you get to about 30 videos, that's a good point to look back and say, okay, what improvements have I made? Your videos should not look the same. And I've been reading the YouTube Formula. It's an awesome book by Daryl Eves. I'll mention that. But it's nice that a lot of things that I mentioned, Mr. Beast mentions, and so does Daryl Eves. So it's really reassuring to me. But after your 30 videos, like, you want to get to 100 videos. And I always say make 1% improvements with each video. So yes, we can dive into analytics, but if you are not posting and improving, that's going to be for nothing. So then once you're recording, I would have to say analytics, it can be a lot. So can the lighting. And that's why I was able to actually create a channel around all this stuff, because at first there's so much to know. So if you're just making 1% improvements with each video, it's just a lot simpler to say, okay, what is this keyword research stuff that they're talking about here? What is that? So I utilize a tool called TubeBuddy. I highly suggest it. And I've used other tools in the past, but it led me to TubeBuddy. It's a platform that I continue to promote because I believe in it. And so with your question, I would say continue to post, and there's going to be consistency there. So post at least once a week and make 1% improvements, shoot for at least 30 videos. But I see it a lot. People will say, I'm not getting views and subscribers. First thing I ask is, how many videos do you have? Because if you really want to think, like, if you're going to make good content, or if you want subscribers and views, you need to post more videos. So it's going to start with, there's my trio. It's going to be your keyword research, your click-through rate, and your content. So those three things, and improving on those, there's a lot of different things, the variables there, but utilizing a system called TubeBuddy, because we want your videos to rank in search. Think about this. When you're starting, You could be passionate. You can want to share your story. For instance, like my wife's journey with cancer and, what it took for us to get, to that point and get through it. To be honest, and this can hurt a lot of people's feelings, but people don't care. They don't care about me. They don't care about you, Sarah. They don't care. So what can we do? We can provide value. So sharing bits and pieces of our story throughout our content when it relates to what we're talking about, that's one thing. But trying to figure out, okay, I want to do a gardening channel. Cool. So what are people searching for? What can you do? What tools do you use? That's affiliate marketing. You could put that in your links. What new ways of gardening, or you know what I mean? That's what we want to be thinking about. So with keyword research, we're thinking about creating value and putting in the eyes of the viewer by stuff they're searching for. Next, we're going to be doing our click-through rate. You can make the best keyword research possible, but if people aren't clicking, then your content, it doesn't matter how good your content was either if you don't get the click. So Mr. Beast, this man will spend weeks just working on thumbnails, like one thumbnail. I mean, it's phenomenal when you think about how important that click is. So you have what's called the click-through rate. So I would say on average, you're gonna want at least a 5% click-through rate. Shoot for 10%. So you have your keyword research, your video could be ranking. Now you get the click. Now we want to look at the content. How good is the content? And like I said, at first it's going to suck, but keep posting, keep posting, keep posting. And before you know it, your audience is going to start sticking around a lot longer. Don't start off making 20-minute videos, but keyword research, click-through rate, content.
Awesome. All great stuff. And yeah, I would echo all of that as well. And yeah, it's nothing to be offended by. It's just the way YouTube works, that people do not want to necessarily know what you want to make a video on. And that's exactly how I started my channel. I had to sit down and go, nope, can't make that video. I made a bunch of videos that I just made them because I wanted to and wasn't really concerned about scaling my channel or growing my channel. But then when I really got serious, I said, okay, now this part of my brain has to start working, because I'm just like way too right-brained, want to do everything creative. And it's like, well, I shouldn't even put effort into YouTube unless I'm going to pay attention to the analytics. And so that was just like when things get real. And I love it now because I love seeing the traction. Like, it's just not, you just get deflated if like you're putting out stuff all the time and like you're just not seeing the views, and you're trying to drive traffic from all kinds of other ways. Many people, suggest different ways to drive traffic to your channel, not only the sub for sub, but, you can direct people from other social media platforms. And it's just like, that's exhausting. Why not just understand how the algorithm works on YouTube? And YouTube is the world's second largest search engine. So that being said, Brendan, would you recommend, they wait until after, like you said, those 30 videos, or would you say, start looking into it now, like start having an understanding, as you're getting familiar with the equipment, as you're finding your voice?
Yeah, I would definitely say become familiar. It's just, for me, I'm one of those people that has to click through things to really understand them. And I had a fear of this whole YouTube studio thing that YouTube had to offer. Like, I didn't even want to look at a graph because I'm like, I don't even know. I don't know what it's gonna. Is everything gonna be like this? I don't know.
Yep.
So become familiar with it. Understand. Click through it a little bit. And but I would say, like, if a lot of people say also, how do I promote my channel? I know we're talking about like growing, but like, how do I promote my channel? That's how you do it. You let YouTube do the work for you. Spamming your family, Facebook, I've been there, right? Or Facebook groups. The thing is if it's a Facebook group that's relative to your type of content, like that's cool. But we want to bring in people that are interested in your type of content, not Grandma Susie, not mom, not dad. So I think that when we look at promoting, like that's what we do. Those are called impressions. So when you have your keyword research set up, and it's not going to be good at first, you're not really going to understand it, but when you start thinking about it and when you start actually implementing that, you're going to start to notice, like, I'm getting more impressions, and that just means it's more eyes on your content. That is your YouTube promotion. And the more that YouTube's gathering that data, the more that you're posting, the easier it's going to be for YouTube to put it in front of the right audience. So you have to post to first do that, and then you have to become more familiar with your analytics.
And it gets to be exciting when you see how everything's connected. And it takes a long time to understand it, especially if you're someone like me who's just like averse to data. But there's so many great tools, like you mentioned, TubeBuddy. And I think, having those tools available can make it a lot easier for us to understand and for us to, not be afraid of like working with the algorithm. And I was laughing at what you said about, Grandma Susie, because I actually had a relative who said, I unsubscribed to your channel because she said, Sarah, I just don't think it's for me. I'm not interested in being on video.
That's funny.
And I loved it. I was like, that's exactly it. That is it. I love that. So we just have a few minutes left, but I wanted to touch on how you get your videos out. So you're in the military, you're working a lot, you have a family. And I think so many people out there feel tripped up because of the amount of time that can go into building a channel. And especially when you start to see some results, you want to put even more time in. But we talked a little bit before the interview. What I think is interesting with you, Brendan, is like you have this experience in the military. So is that something that has helped you with discipline and getting your videos pre-recorded and having a plan for your channel?
I'm probably one of the most unorganized people. So I'll start with that. I think being in the military, it has, I realized like in my career and stuff like that, I understand the importance of self-care. And for me, honestly, people ask me all the time, how do you do it? How is it possible? Even people I work with. And it's because I wouldn't say it's dedication. It's because it's my passion. So I don't look at it like it's an additional duty. I don't look at it like I'm just trying to make money from it. Like my goal would be to do YouTube full time when I retire in 10 years. Like next month, I hit my 10th year in the military, in the Air Force.
Wow.
And so I would say that it comes down to what you as the creator want, like how you are going to sacrifice your leisure time. Most of the successful channels that you're going to see, and I'm not saying I'm one of them, but what I'm saying is a good example. I remember Heather Torres from Think Media. She did a speech about her growth on YouTube and what led her to where she is. And I've seen quite a few creators do the same thing. And they would talk about, hey, when there was a family party, when there was the girls' night out, when there was this, that, and the third, they're like, you know what, I'm good. I got to focus on my platform and my channel. So I would just say that I'm not saying you have to give up everything, sacrifice everything, but it's the work that you're going to put in. When my wife's watching Netflix, I'm kind of thinking of my next video. And the more that I'm sitting around watching TV, I'm like, man, I could have worked on this video. So I would say it's going to be your own drive. There's no specific YouTube formula or recipe. It's going to be what you as the creator do. Only you know your audience. But I would say when focusing on content, it does help me to batch record. I try to do that as much as possible. People post once every single day, and I look at their content, it looks exactly the same. So take the time, maybe just post once a week, focus on those improvements and time. We all have time. Let's just say I'm gaining weight because of COVID and all these things. Well, really, if you think about it, could I dedicate 15 minutes to go for a run? Yes, I could. So the same, I think, applies to our channels. We all have lives to live. We all have things going on. But when it's Wednesday night, I had a long day at work, but that's what works for me. I have to get my kids to lay in bed, and I kind of have this time where I can do a 3-hour live stream after a long day at work. I look forward to it. And then I'm working throughout the week to record a video to then post on the weekend. And sometimes I'm on the weekends working on videos, but there's burnout. It's a real thing. I've been there before. So I know if I need to take a week, I'm taking a week. But having that batch record, having those videos in the vault really helps for times like that. So, yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. Yeah. It really does come down to time management. And I personally just found I had a lot more time during the pandemic over the last year. So I kind of, made it an intention to set up my system, I'm still working on it every day. But, there was more time available, and I also couldn't physically go out and do shoots. It was, because of the county mandate and so forth. We weren't allowed to operate as a business for a while. So, so it just actually I became really interested in how I could set things up so that when things do get busier, I can still have this system that runs, and I might need to tweak it a little bit. But
I want to mention this too. Look, my setup is right by my kitchen table. I'm in my kitchen. So a lot of people are like, I don't have that type of setup. I don't sure, my desk has some stuff on it that I've accumulated over the last couple of years. But if I'm in the military and if I'm recording in my kitchen, you at home can do this too. And that's one of my main things, that if I can keep showing up and dedicating my time to do this, and my goal would be to keep doing this full time, but you never know whether it's a deployment, this, that, and third. But for you at home, don't be afraid to get started, because you're looking at the big channels. Quit comparing yourself to others and focus on yourself, because there's only one you. And that's something I love to mention all the time, because we can really, yes, even for myself, looking at Sean Cannell, looking at these other big channels, so why should I get started? Why should I even record? Why when there's already Sean Cannell? Because there's only one me. I have my own way of delivering a message. I have my story, which is different than Sean's or different than these other big channels. I look up to these big channels, but I can definitely tell you that I'm going to do it my way, and I'm going to look at my audience because it's my audience. So yeah, I just want to mention that too.
Absolutely. Everything you said is just so important, for people to hear, and that it's always about progress, not perfection. I think. I like that. Know, that's what I really tried to drill into my own head, as well as tell my clients, that if you're thinking about it has to be perfect, you're probably never going to get started, and you're never going to be dedicated, because you're going to be too tripped up on everything. But what you mentioned about, some of the bigger YouTubers, I mean, that is something that can easily trip people up. And it did stop me, I have to say, for a little while. And I thought more about it, and I thought, I'm watching all these videos and none of them are female. There are female creators now who are talking more about the tech stuff and the video production side. But that really started to motivate me, actually, because I just thought, you know what I mean? Whether you're female, male, or whatever you are, there's something different, some way that you can approach the topic and bring your own unique voice, your own perspective, etc. And you really have to sit down and think about that and believe it, because honestly, guys, the way I think of it as well is, let's think about some comedians that have been around for 10, 20, 30 years. And we think, oh, they're the best. They're out there and everybody's paying attention to them. Well, what does that mean? There shouldn't be anybody else on the comedy circuit. Nobody should be, at a stand-up at a club doing stand-up because they think that no one's going to hear them or they have nothing to share. It's
you're getting me pumped right now. You're getting me. I'm getting
Yeah,
pumped
I know.
because
I'm getting pumped talking to
hey,
you.
I'm telling you, because think about these comedians when they first started. Were their jokes good? Now let's think about this. Maybe, but how many times did they have to stand up, get the booze, or stand up and realize that this joke hit, that joke hit, this one hit? You're learning like as you go. So when we think of any comedian, when we think of any content creator, all we do is see what's right in front of us. We don't look at the trial and error that got them to where they are. Go back, I mean, maybe they'll still have them up, but some of their first videos, they sucked. And it took them years to get where they are. Sure, there's some channels that just blow up, right? I mean, you have like the one girl that's living in the van out in the middle of nowhere. Like, okay, I get that. But when we look at majority, there's another channel, Roberto Blake. And what I like to mention about him all the time is super cool is that you have a channel who didn't do nothing crazy to grow his channel. He was consistent and he mastered the fundamentals. So we have to stop looking at what's right in front of us and realize that YouTube is a long-term game. Sean says this a lot, and I know I mention him a lot, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I've heard that here and there, but it makes so much sense. And it's kind of annoying to hear, like, how do I get YouTube growth? And the answer is so like, it's all the time. Consistency. That's all I ever hear. If you want to grow on YouTube, consistency. Well, there's a reason why everybody is saying this, and it's because you're not going to get the results that you want right at first. But are you willing to wait it out? How long are you willing to wait it out? And what's really hard is that when you are starting to improve your content and you think you're doing everything right, what happens when you aren't getting the views that you want? Your subscribers, are you just going to give up? So that's where I say continue to post. And that's why I do those channel reviews, because a lot of times we think we're implementing the right changes. We think our content is good enough and our thumbnails look good. They're optimized, this, that, and the third. But there's always something. That's why I love to get my channel reviewed. The same reasons. And because there's always something to learn and there's always something to improve on.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I just typed it in the chat that it's a marathon, not a sprint. And yeah, I think we just, in this culture, just think things have to happen so fast. And if they don't, we give up. And that really ties back in. If you guys came in the middle of this live, you might want to go back and watch the beginning, because we were talking about how you really have to be connected to your purpose. And I really think if you believe in what you're doing and the content that you're sharing, and it isn't just about, oh, I need to grow my YouTube channel. Well, that's not a strong enough mission. You know what I mean? Like, that is not going to keep you going to the end of the marathon. I've never run a marathon personally, but I like the idea of investing in something. Like, I'm now at that point in my life where I just see it as something that's fun and, like, you know, just enjoy the journey. You know, don't get caught up in, oh, this was a bad day, this video didn't do well. It's just like, yeah, I'm in it for the long-term game, and I'm just going to enjoy it. Hey, I enjoyed making that video that people didn't like, but I'm just going to see if I can improve the next time, you know?
I think that if we change the mindset of saying, here's how we're going to, you know, I want to grow my channel. Let's look at it like I want to improve my channel. Daryl Leaves said it really good recently. And it's, let's not look at the solution. Let's look at the problems, because a lot of times when we dive into the problems, we figure out what the problem is, you're naturally going to find your solution. And I love that. So the solution is make better content and improve your content. You will eventually grow. But rather than just looking at how do I grow, you're trying to find a solution when you're not looking at all the problems. And what the problems are all the different ways that you can improve, making those 1% improvements, and then you will find that natural growth.
Yay. Awesome. Well, I know that you have to get going, but let's see if there's any. Do you have time to take a question or two?
I'm usually live for like 3 hours. So, I mean, I'm down. I'm down, Sarah. Let's do this.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, let's just take a couple questions. Does anybody who's watching, we're live right now, both on Facebook and YouTube, and we're happy to take questions from either platform. So type them into the chat and we'll just keep chatting here for like a minute or so, wait for you to come up with your questions. But, here's your opportunity. Talk to Brendan, get your questions answered. And I will be, posting his YouTube channel in the description here. I believe it's there already, but I'll double check, of course. And definitely check out his channel. He does the weekly channel reviews every Wednesday. Is that right?
Yes.
Yay. All right. So Allie Fat Cat says, I don't really have any questions, but I will say this stream has a bunch of replay value. Thank you.
What's up, Allie Fat Cat? What's up?
Thanks for joining us, Allie Fat Cat. And Reagan V Films is here. Let me see. Oh, I can put these on screen. I'm still learning StreamYard, guys. So the only thing Reagan says that I struggle with book writing, however, video writing I'm best at. Well, that is amazing. That is really good. I mean, to know that you have that skill and just to move forward with it. That's really great. So Reagan wants to know, what is your favorite food? Do you want to answer that?
I don't feel comfortable. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, wow. I would have to say my favorite. Wow, that's really Thai food. Love me some Thai food.
I just had pad Thai last night.
There it is.
Big Thai fan. Yeah.
Love me some Thai food.
What do you like? What's your dish that you like to get?
I love pad Thai, and to be honest, I'm originally from Michigan, and there's this Thai food joint that's like downtown, but they had what's called Goi Simi, and it was probably my favorite dish of all time. But yeah, I'm a big fan of pad Thai, especially because you never know where you're going to go with Thai food, because it always tastes different with the pad Thai. So it's cool to go to different places and see. I love Tom Yum soup. I'm a big fan of me some Tom Yum, but yeah.
Nice. We're in Michigan, by the way. I didn't know you were from there.
I am from Warren, Michigan. So right outside of Detroit.
Oh, cool. Yeah, my mom grew up all over Michigan, so I spent many summers like going up to Detroit and going around Michigan. It's
I was raised in Hazel Park, so Hazel, Tucky. Yeah.
Awesome.
Back in the day. Yeah.
Well, let's see. Okay, so we've got some other fun questions coming in. Let's just get these random ones up here. Does Brendan like sparking fireworks?
I wonder if sparking. I see what you're doing there. Reagan. So Brendan does like sparking fireworks. Yes, he does. He's something else.
Awesome. One more question. Allie Fat Cat. Is Sparks really your last name?
It is. It really is. Yeah, I've gotten what's up, Sparkles? Sparksky and Hutch. I've gotten it all, but Sparks is my real last name.
Very nice. I love it. Well,
Good question.
should. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we should do this again sometime. YouTube, and then also on Are you on Clubhouse, Brendan?
No.
Have you tried that out yet?
So I guess this would be a good like ending segment, but the thing is that there's always going to be new platforms. There's always going to be something new. Let's just say Clubhouse, TikTok, and all these things. Once again, when we look at time investment, I'm not saying don't do Clubhouse. I'm just saying that I see many people wanting to create multiple channels. Once you kind of start getting the hang of it, it's almost like this addiction where you just want to be everywhere. Twitter, Instagram. So I would just say, if you want to grow your channel, the best thing you can do is focus on your channel. And when you get comfortable enough to where you're making content consistently, then I would say go ahead and start jumping around into these other platforms. But just know that once you start putting a lot of time in the Clubhouse, you're going to be able to focus less on your channel. So that's what I would also like to mention. So that's why I haven't actually gone into Clubhouse, because I really you can utilize it to promote your channel, and people could argue that too. I get that. But I would say if YouTube is your number one, make it number one, and then have a secondary. Pick yourself a
Mhm.
secondary where you can continue to push your content out.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I've joined Clubhouse, and like the first week, I was really absorbed in it. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, oh man, I'm really going to put time into this. And then I
Mm-hmm.
just started to think, is it worth it? I think at some point I would
Mm-hmm.
like to, host a chat. I'm more about, how can I bring the most value rather than just like, let me just sit here and join someone's room and see if I can get followers and see if I can find new people. I mean, I know that can be
Mm-hmm.
valuable,
Right.
but in terms of like maximizing our time, I know you have a really tight schedule. I think it could be good, if you're interested in the future. I'd like to bring in some creators and just like have a chat, have a chat about building your YouTube channel on Clubhouse. Just something I've thought about exploring. So just putting
Yeah,
it
I
out
would
there.
definitely say it. And let's just say too, another idea is YouTube's, battle against TikTok, putting up YouTube shorts. I think that's a good investment. Make yourself YouTube shorts and then just publish them on TikTok. Why not? Or if you're already on
Yeah.
TikTok and your content is the same as if you were posting on TikTok, bring that over to YouTube. So I think that there's different ways. I'm a big fan of Facebook groups and stuff like that, but utilization of your time is going to be key, especially like I said, we all
Yeah.
have lives to live. And if you send an invite out for a Clubhouse and you're looking to do that, I'd be more than willing to hang out and give any tips. So
Sweet, sweet. Yeah, I hope to keep in touch and do this in some format again in the future. But yeah, this is it for today, guys. And type some comments below. We'll come back and see if there are any other questions. But definitely check out Brendan's channel and his Instagram. And thank you again for joining us.
yes, thank you for having me.
Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye.